Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. So I had a video go up last week where I was sharing my Sephora recommendations for the sale, or if you weren't shopping the sale, it was nothing more than a favorites video. And in that video, I combined these two palettes right here from Natasha Denona. These are my current top two favorite eyeshadow palettes in my whole entire collection. We have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude, which of course has always been one of my favorites. If you're not new to my channel, you will know that I talk about this palette a lot, and it is the only palette in my collection that I have 3 pans in, and that is what I want to happen for this palette right here. This is her new Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palette. Now I have the soft version. She does have another one that I think it's called Dramatic. It's a lot more bolder shades in that one, but I equally love this one just as much as I do this. So my goal is to start hitting pan on as many shades in this palette as I possibly can, and when I'm not doing makeup for filming, for Instagram, for anything like that, I'm reaching for this palette right here, and then I'm topping it off sometimes with a shimmer either from a separate palette, a single shadow, whatever the case may be. But I thought it would be fun to combine these. Now off camera, I did let a random generator pick 3 shades from each palette. This video really isn't about the palette bingo itself, just combining these two, and it gave me this color story right here from these palettes. I think these are really beautiful shades. So the first 3 right here are from the I Need a Nude. We have Whisper, Mesh, and Fair. And then these 2 and this shade right here are from the Eye Sculpt palette. We have N2, P3, and N1. And I just think these shades are so beautiful. I just want to continue combining these 2 palettes because I feel like maybe that would be a better way for me to hit pan. So I'm going to zoom you in and we're going to get started. The only thing that I've done on my face is I've just done like foundation, concealer, powder, and my brows. I recently received a foundation and a concealer in PR. They're kind of expensive products, so I've been testing them out over the last couple of days, and I don't have my final thoughts yet on them, so I wanted to give them a good test before I actually shared any opinions because it is an expensive brand. It's from the brand Iris and Romeo from Sephora, and I think that foundation is like $50 or it's like $48 or something like that. It's kind of expensive, so I've been testing that out. So that's all that's on my face. Their foundation, their concealer, and then I'm using my Tarte, their creaseless setting powder in the lavender, and then in my brows I'm wearing the Billion Dollar Beauty. It's like the Color and Control Tinted Brow Gel, I believe, in the shade Taupe. That one was sent to me in PR as well. But the Iris and Romeo products are their Best Skin, let's see, what's it called? Best Skin Days 5-in-1 Skincare Dewy Coverage Broad Spectrum SPF 30, and then their Best Skin Days Treatment Concealer. They did send these to me in PR, and I've been testing those out. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is take a Sigma E54, and I'm going to go back and forth with Mesh and Fair, just mix these 2 shades together. Honestly, that's how I got pan in those shades in the first place, is I would always mix them together. I'm just going to run that into my crease. I'm not sure yet if I want to do just this one look or if I want to do this again for another day and just see what combo I get the next time. I used that Tiny Decisions app, by the way, and now it has a feature where you can let it pick how many numbers you want. So I let it pick 3 random ones from each palette, and it does it like all in one go. I really like that feature. I'm glad they added that in because it is a lot easier when you're just randomly generating shades. So I might honestly do another look combining these 2. I love both of these palettes. I think they are just, they're so lovely. I have no complaints about either one of them. I know that the Eye Sculpt palette is like $80-something, and I'm aware of how expensive that is, and at the end of the day, it's a neutral palette, and the same with this one right here. You don't have to pay these prices to get neutral palettes, of course, but if you are a fan of Natasha Denona and her formula, then I don't think you'd be disappointed with either of these palettes. If you didn't have them and you were interested, and you were a neutral person, I love both of them. And that's why I recommended them in that video last week for the Sephora sale, or just in general. They're just my favorite palettes in general. These 2 shades right here that I'm mixing together for my crease, one of my favorite ways to wear these, and it's how I got pan on them, is combining them and placing them all over the lid as like a, well, I hate to say one and done because it was 2 shades, but you know what I mean. I just combined them and put them all over the lid and in the crease, and that was it. I just think they make such a beautiful tone together. Oh, and this is just a Rare Beauty concealer brush. Whatever powder is left on it, I'm just going around the edges here. I'm not adding anything to that brush. We are now going over to the Eye Sculpt palette, and using that same brush, I'm going to go into P3. And I'm going to run that along the lower lash line. I know I haven't finished the actual lid yet, but I knew for sure I wanted to place this on the lower lash line, so I figured I'd go ahead and do so. This is why I wanted to go ahead and do like my complexion before I started recording. Same brush, and we're going to take the shade In1. And we're going to place that on this outer half of the lid. I did not pick up too much on that brush, and you could also pick this shade up with your finger because it is kind of like a, I don't want to say shimmer shade, maybe like a satin shade, so you could pick it up like that too, but I like using it with a brush to keep it more in a precise location, and the brush just makes that shadow softer anyway, which is what I prefer. Okay, now that I have that down with the brush, I think I am going to go back into that In1 shade and take that on my finger. You can tell how much more intense this application makes that shade. I'm going to kind of get it placed down, and then go back in with that brush and kind of make sure that is in the crease, nicely blended out. We're going to do the same thing over here. First apply it down with a brush, kind of get it in the area I want it. And then I'm going to take it on my finger, get that placed down in the general area here, and then go back in with that brush and make sure it's nice and blended. Okay, then we're going to go back into the I Need a Nude palette and pick up the shade Whisper. And we're going to apply that on the beginning half of that lid. I'm telling you, these two palettes make the perfect companions because one has more mattes, the other one has a little more shimmer, so they just make a good pairing. Of course, you don't need both of them. I'm not telling anybody they need both of them. Just if you wanted both of them, I feel like they're good companion palettes. They work very well together. But I mean, if you wait around long enough, what's that brand called that makes the dupes of these expensive palettes? Alter Ego? I know they have a dupe for the I Need a Nude. If you wait around long enough, they'll probably have a dupe of the Eye Sculpt palette as well. I'm assuming. I don't know that. So if you were wanting to do that instead, that might be an option if they decide to make a dupe of the Eye Sculpt palette. Okay, and then on a ColourPop E30, which is just an angled brush, I am going to go into the shade In2 in the Eye Sculpt palette, and we're going to use that as a liner. Okay, so here's this look right here. I want to show you before I put on any mascara or anything. I think it's so pretty. I'm telling you, these two palettes make such a pretty combo. So let me do mascara, blush, bronzer, all the stuff, lips as well, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is this completed makeup look. I went a little bit much with the blush on this side. I tried to tone it down with some powder and really didn't work all that well, so I have a ton of blush on my face today. But the blush that I'm wearing is from Essence. This is their Blushlighter Gradient Powder Blush in the shade Cassis Sunburst. I don't believe they make this anymore, but oh, it is intense. But it's beautiful because it has that beautiful shine to it. Like, it is definitely like a glowy, sparkly blush because it does have some sparkles in it. I do notice that. I wish it was still available though because I think it is really, really pretty. I just went a little bit overboard on this side. I picked up way too much because something told me this was going to be soft and I underestimated it. So for the lips, I'm wearing the Kosas Hot Liner Lip Liner in the shade Beyond, and then over the top of that I'm wearing the Tower 28 Lip Softy in Ube Vanilla. I like that combo. I think they make a really pretty combo. But you know what? I definitely want to create another look with these two palettes. I feel like they create such beautiful eye looks. I love this eye look just like I did the one I created last week in that video. So I want to do it again. So I'm going to be doing one more look with this palette before I end the video because I just want to play with these two palettes again. I am going to be doing the same thing in look number 2. I'm just going to let a random generator pick the eyeshadows. I'm going to do that off camera because this video really isn't about the palette bingo itself. It's just about combining these two palettes because I just love them so much. So on to look number 2. Okay, so for the second look, it picked this color story right here for me. So these first 3 right here are from the I Need a Nude palette. We have Wit, Travertine, and Vague. And then these 2 and this one are from the Sculpt palette. We have R2, Y3, and C1. So I'm first going to go over to the I Need a Nude palette, and on a Sigma E54, I am going to start with the shade Wit. And I'm going to run that into my crease. I had a few of you in the comments section on my last video ask about my dad, and I really appreciate that so very much. He is doing much better. I'm filming this on Tuesday. You'll be seeing this video on Friday. And if all goes well, he will be coming home this coming Monday. Assuming that nothing changes, which so far so good, so he should be coming home very soon. But he's doing a lot better. I can definitely see a huge difference between him from when this all started to now. So I'm really happy to see that improvement. I'm going to just go back in with my Rare Beauty concealer brush. I'm just using whatever was left on the brush of the powder I was using on my face. There's nothing else added to it. I have really loved the looks I've created combining these two palettes. This will be the 3rd time I've done so. And I've just loved every look so far, hoping this one will turn out too, which I'm sure it will. I've just really enjoyed using these two palettes together. Then on that same brush, I'm going to go into the shade Vague, and then I'm going to press this on the outer half of my lid. I picked up quite a good amount of this shade because if you go in with this Vague shade a little bit more on the subtle side, it ends up looking a lot like the shade Wit, so I did try to build up the pigment a little bit more. It's still in the same family of that other shade, but it's just a touch darker. So I wiped that brush off, and now I'm just going to make sure it's nicely blended into that crease. Do any of you have 2 palettes that you combine all the time? Like they're your go-tos for when you want to use 2 different palettes, but you love combining them? Honestly, I feel like these 2 have become like my favorites to combine. I got my Sephora sale order in the mail yesterday. I'm so excited to try those products out. That will be my next video. You'll be seeing that one on Monday. I'm so excited to try everything. Okay, I'm going to take the shade Travertine on my finger, and we're going to keep that in the very, very center of my lid, meeting up with that Vague shade. You know, this Travertine shade I really love as a one and done. I think it's like the perfect tone for that. Of course, I feel like that's what I always loved about the I Need a Nude palette anyway, is that most of these shades could be worn as a one and done. But what I really love doing lately is taking a matte shadow, more specifically from the Sculpt palette, putting that all over the lid in the crease and everything, and then taking a sparkly shade from like, you know, a singles palette or one of these Patrick, ooh, that's reflective. One of these Patrick Ta duos here that I have. I've been loving placing one of these over the top. I've just really been enjoying that kind of look lately with just one matte shade and one shimmer. Maybe sometimes 2 shimmers, like if I'm using those duos, I'll use both shades. And I've really been loving how that looks. Okay, so we're going to move over to the Sculpt palette, and I'm going to go into the shade C1, and I'm going to pick that up on my finger. And we're going to place that on the beginning half, or I should say this most inner part of that lid. Kind of meeting up with Travertine. That's really pretty. I'm just loving combining these palettes. I think so far, all the looks I've created, I've really, really loved. Okay, using that same Sigma brush, I'm going to go into Y3, and I'm going to apply that on more so this outer half of the lower lash line. Same brush, and we're going to go into R2. And I'm going to place that right here on the beginning half of that lower lash line. You could also go in with more of like an angle brush to probably make these a little bit more pigmented, because I know this brush is a little bit fluffy for the lower lash line, but I wanted more of a soft lower lash line like that. Okay, so here's this look. I'm going to show you before I put on any mascara. I think it's so pretty. I really love it. It's just, I don't know, it's very simple, of course. I mean, most of my looks are. I love more simple makeup, but I really love it. I think it's very pretty. I love these tones together. So what I'm going to do is do like my blush, bronzer, mascara, and all that, oh, and the lip, and I will be right back. Okay, so here is this completed look. This is a very fall-inspired look, and my little hot pink cat earrings, which I don't know if you paid them any attention. It's a cute little pink cat holding a little pearl. They definitely don't match, but I was more so wearing them because this shirt has like big cats on it. But it definitely doesn't match, so I'll have to change those earrings out. But right quick, what is on the rest of my face? For the blush, I'm wearing this LA Colors blush. This was from a fall collection they have at Dollar Tree. This one is in the shade Hello Y'all. It's this really beautiful, warm, fall-inspired tone. However, I did mix it with this Tarte Face Tape pressed powder. Mine's in the shade 16 in Fairlight Neutral. I did mix it with this face powder just to tone it down some, because this shade is very pigmented and you can still see just how pigmented it is, even though I mixed it with a face powder. And then for the lips, I'm wearing the Tower 28 one liner in Color Me Fine. I just wore that on the actual lip line and then just kind of blended it in. And then over the top of that, I'm wearing the Fenty Beauty. This is the Gloss Bomb Sticks, and this one is in the shade Sorta Selfish, and definitely a really pretty fall-inspired lip. But you know what? These two palettes right here, I have enjoyed every single look I have created combining the two of them. This makes the third look. Well, two for this video, and then I did a look in that video where I was talking about my recommendations and my favorites from Sephora for like the sale. And this is the third look now, and I've loved all of them. I think they make such a beautiful pairing. They're both gorgeous palettes. I'm happy to have them both in my collection. They have quickly become my top two eyeshadow palettes in my entire collection. I just want to reach for them all the time now, more so than I do any other palette. And don't get me wrong, I love a lot of eyeshadow palettes in my collection. With the way I love these two, I definitely think that maybe at the beginning of the year I might have to do a declutter for my eyeshadow palettes. I don't know yet if I'm going to or not, but I don't know. I want to feel about all of the palettes in my collection the way I feel about these two, and I think that's kind of a good starting point for me, but that won't happen until probably the beginning of the year. It's not something that I'll be doing right now with all like the holiday stuff, and then there's a lot of things going on, so I thought about that, maybe doing a declutter for some eyeshadow palettes, but we'll see, but I really love both of these palettes. I love the looks I've created with them. I just think they're stunning. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads. And follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly. All of these products will be listed and linked for you below. They are affiliate links, so if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission, and if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!